Hello everyone. Today I want to go over a topic that I have been meaning to touch on for a little while. And this is how you make a pattern into a multiple page pattern. And this is really useful if you're working with large charts or if you're working with really detailed charts. And I decided to go ahead and just make one with this older one because I haven't had time to make a new large chart. So I showed this one in a previous video. This is a free rose PNG that I got. It's not okay to sell this pattern. It is okay for it to be distributed for free, and you can download that on my website if you like the pattern. And today I'm going to show how we can take that pattern and have it available in multiple pages. I'm also going to show you how to combine a multiple page PDF with the entire chart. So you can have those as one chart or you can have them as separate charts. It's up to you. And the reason I would select this chart as a good candidate for multiple pages is that even though it's only about 7.5 inches wide, and 10 inches down. It's not huge. The whole thing technically does fit on a single page, but it does have a lot of detail and it is quite full coverage in many places, and that makes it a little bit difficult to see. And a lot of people would probably find it easier to work on something with this much detail if they had multiple pages. And when we want to make a multiple page chart, something to keep in mind that they put right on the manual is that you want to try and fit between 55 and 70 symbols across your typical page of A4 or printer paper in portrait mode or in the typical printing mode that we use. And obviously, if we have 55 symbols, that is 55 squares across a page, those squares are going to be larger than if we want 70 squares or symbols to be in the same amount of size. So if you want your symbols to be smaller, I would stick towards 70. And if you want them to be a little larger, a little easier to read, I would go with 55. And which one you go with depends on how much detail basically you want to be able to fit in, and you can play around with it, but it's really not that hard. So I thought I would show that real quick. The chart is already done, it's all ready, so I'm going to go ahead and just go to export to PDF, and I'm going to choose the full key option. It's just a matter of preference here. And before, I've always clicked the entire chart. Today I'm not going to do that. Today what I want to do is click on symbols across page. And personally, with this chart, I found that 50 worked good, but I will edit that so that you can see, for example, if I went with 60. And it's going to give me the number of how many per inch I believe each symbol takes up. So each symbol is going to be 0.136 inches. It's a little hard to imagine that, so I'm going to click on this little eye, and it's going to come up with a thumbnail for how many pages this would take and what that will look like if I decide to go with 60 symbols. And you can see that given the size of my chart, that works up to just 9 pages because I did select an overlap. This is something that I would keep in mind as well. It starts off with 0, and the overlap is basically the amount of rows that are going to be repeated for each page. And this is important for people who print out their charts so that they have a little bit of wiggle room, and it makes it much easier to follow if you do have overlap. So I've got a few Long Dog samplers. They always have a good 5. I think you can only go up to 9, or maybe I can only go up to 5 because I couldn't do multiple digits. Okay, so the largest I can do is 5. That's how many rows I can get of overlap. And that means that there are going to be 5 symbols repeated on every page that is a multiple. And the color is going to be a little bit purple as the default. And again, I found that easy to read, so I'm going to stick with it. But I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like if I switch it to 50. It's still going to be 9 pages, but those 9 pages are going to be a little bit fuller. It is a little bit zoomed in perhaps, but I like the way that this looked a little better. I figured since we're already getting 9 pages, we might as well make the most of them. And just so you know, this is basically what the page map would look like, which is always printed in black and white. So we'll go with that. Okay, so again, you can't do the entire chart and symbols across the page at the same time, but you can do them separately, and then I'll show you how we combine them. So I'm going to say, let's do this in black and white, and we'll do it in symbols and color. I got the title and everything down. Preview page, we'll go with none because we already have one, but I did click add a page map, which is going to show people which is the first page, the second page, etc., and how you can put them together if you're going to be printing it out and then working from that. And we don't need to cover our footer page. Key, fine, we'll keep that in. I'll go with that. And the thumbnail view, it already popped that up for us. And that's going to be basically 9 pages for each one. So this would be 18 pages for this. That is quite a lot of detail. Again, I went down to 50 symbols, so each one of those squares is going to be pretty large. You don't have to go that detailed, but I just want to make sure it's nice and clear. So I will show this as classic rows, and then we will call it multi-page. Click save, and now it's going to load that up. Come on. There we go. Okay, so here it is. As you can see on the first page, it's only going up to 50 symbols, and this is the entire view. If we zoom in, this is how large it would look at 100%. Okay, so those are nice, very clear compared to if I made somebody, go through it on the whole page. And then here is the overlap. We've got 5 rows. This would be page 2. So only these rows are repeated from the first page. And that makes it very easy to tell. Again, this is the third page, which rows are repeated. So you can see we've got that square and then those different triangles down there. And those are from here, the square and then the triangles. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got our dashed lines and then our row numbers to help us out with that as well. And then we've got the next row and so on. So that's why having that overlap is very helpful, because most of the time, I know whenever I work with a multi-page, I like to print it out. So, and even if you're using this on the computer, it's still quite easy to read it. So I would recommend working with the overlap. You don't have to do 5 rows. You could always just do 2 or 3. And you can change this color if you find it a little bit much, but it kind of works like a highlighter. And here it is in black and white. And here's the page map. So it's going to show us this is number 1, 2, 3, etc. So that again makes it a little bit easier to read. And that is how the larger pattern works if you want to print it over multiple pages. And then if we want to combine it on a Mac, this is super, super easy. What we do is we open it in preview. This is the one that I made before, and this is the chart on one entire page. So this is the whole image of it, and I went ahead and I left in the 2 keys. I could always get rid of 1 or 2 of those if I want to, but this is the chart all on one page. So I made that in a separate PDF, and I have other videos that show you how to do that. You just click the box to keep it all on one page, and then if I want to add it, what I want to do is I want to open up the PDF I just made, So that would be Classic Rose Multipage. I know I'm going to have both of those PDFs in there. And I find because this one has so many pages, this one has 19 pages already, I find it a bit easier to add in my entire chart to the multiple page one instead. So I'm going to grab from this preview area the whole chart, and I'm just going to drop it in. And now it's going to have it on here. And then I can do the same thing with the cover page that I made. And again, I got a video showing you how to make a cover page. And all I have to do is click save. And now I've got my PDF with my cover page, with the chart all on one page, and then with the multi-page format. So I've got all of the ways that you can see the chart here. And this is, you know, you just saw it took me a couple seconds to do that. To make both PDFs, it only takes a few minutes. If you don't have a Mac and if you don't have a program that can easily add, you can find resources online that will help you combine PDFs, or of course, you can also upload multiple PDFs. If you're selling on Etsy, I know you can add up to like 5 files or something. So you could always have one that is on one page and you could have another PDF for the pattern that's on multiple pages. And again, you want to keep in mind how many symbols you have. This is it with 50 symbols across. Ursa Software recommends between 55 and 70, 75, something like that. Again, it's just going to change how much detail you get, and the fewer symbols, the larger the symbols will appear. And if somebody really wants to zoom in, you know, I think working from a computer screen would be a little bit easier in that case. But just having it available on one page and then on multiple pages is something that a lot of stitchers look for. I know it's something that I really appreciate. And so I like to make sure that if I'm working with larger patterns, that I try to offer multiple views to stitchers. So that is how you do a multiple page pattern, how you get the page map on there, and then how you combine those two together. So I hope you found that useful. If you do have any questions about working with this, you can let me know. Drop me a comment below, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, guys. Bye.